Hi, I'm Captain Chris Baldwin with Halibut Fishing in Ketchikan, Alaska. In this video, I'm going to go over my 3 main rigs for halibut fishing, and I'm going to show you why they work for me and just what I like about them. This is the standard B2 rig. This is the most common lure you're going to find throughout our entire company. When I'm tying this leader, this for me is a great length of it. I use a 100-pound test monofilament, go down to 5-inch B2 triple glow squid, little bead there, and I use 2 7/0 Gamakatsu octopus hooks. For the knots, I just tie the basic snell. The length of the leader determines the action down at the bottom. So if you have a real short leader, as you move that rod tip, it's gonna have a lot more action. But we really like the triple glow because they could see it. It really stands out and glows, and when there's zero light, this thing really lights up. At the end of this leader, I like to just crimp it off. Crimps they're easy, they're reliable, and I feel that 100-pound test could be sometimes hard to tie good knots. I'm always experimenting. There's 100 different ways of doing this. There literally is, and this is just the way that works for me. Over the years, it is just my gears evolved to just become this. This is another rig that I have a lot of faith in. This is just a double circle hook rig. I put the 5-inch glow B2s on there. These are 10/0 Mustad circle hooks. This is a really good setup for less experienced people or people that just like to put their rod in the rod holder and let it go. This is set up with the weight on the bottom, so that way you could just bounce the bottom with this and the lures are always in the right spot. With the B2, when you get a bite, you want to set the hook as soon as you feel the fish. With the circle hook, you do not want to set the hook. The reason being, if the fish comes and bites, it's curved, and so if you set that hook, it's not going to bite, and you're just going to pull that hook right out of the fish's mouth. The way that these work is you just a solid steady pull, and it gets pulled to the corner of the fish's mouth, and once that happens, it just pops right in. So for my double circle hook rig, I always use 200-pound test. Reason being is that these will last months and months. They're incredibly tough. The length of the leaders, I like it about like this. The main thing is the distance from the weight to the bottom hook, because this determines the height of this lure from the bottom. You don't want it too high, but also you don't want it right at the bottom, in my opinion. So that's the knot I tie here, is the spider loop. Another good thing about these is that it being a loop, I could switch stuff out, and that's one of the reasons these leaders just last so long. Is that if I need to switch the hoochie out, I could just put a new hoochie on. If I need to get a new hook, it takes me 2 seconds to throw a new hook on here. And I like that because it really cuts down time tying leaders. So these are common in Florida, where they call them chicken rigs. So if you Google chicken rigs, there's a number of videos that tell you how to tie these leaders. So I'm not going to go into detail about how to tie them. So this is probably my favorite halibut rig out there. This is a lead head, we call them. This has an 8-inch Berkeley power grub, glow in the dark. I also use white a lot. These are just so fun to catch halibut on. This is fun because it's just a lot of action. You're aggressively jigging these, you're aggressively bouncing these off the bottom, and when you get a bite, there's just nothing like it. It's a lot of fun. There's a couple downsides to this, is that with these things bouncing off the bottom, the halibut are chasing them. A lot of times you do not get solid hookups, and what I've kind of realized is that this gets bit a lot more than everything else. However, you tend to drop a lot more fish off. You really need to keep constant steady pressure and keep that fish coming up. So when it comes to weights, I use anything from 8-ounce to 20-ounce weights depending on the conditions. With the most common weight I use is 12 ounces. If I only had just one weight to use up here, it'd be 12 ounces. But a lot of it depends on the currents, whether you're anchoring, whether you're drifting. If you're anchored in a heavy current, you're gonna need 20-ounce weights just to keep down with the bottom. A lot of guys go heavier than that. So I hope you learned something about rigging for halibut. Like I said, there's 100 ways of doing this. This is just how I do it. But I hope you learned something. So for more videos like this, or if you want to book a fishing trip, check us out on exclusivealaska.com.